they're going to tell you, you're going to have to control your violence.
Yeah,
We don't, you know, lower your voice. You're in the mob, they tell you, raise your voice, yell at people, hit them over the head with a gun if you want, hit them with a baseball bat. Everything's good for us. The more you do, the more of a reputation you get, the better we look.
Right.
You know, so
that's the code.
I did it all. I never killed nobody.
Right.
And again, by the grace of God, I don't have it in me to premeditatedly kill somebody. I wasn't a killer. I could never do that. Could I defend my life? Yeah, anybody can.
Yeah.
Could I have accidentally killed somebody? That hurts me today, thinking that I could have even accidentally hurt an innocent person.
Yeah. I want to carry on sort of chronological road.
Okay.
You haven't been picked up by the mafia yet, but you're doing these big hits, right?
Yeah. Eventually, what happens is now you're doing big scores and you're selling the merchandise.
Right.
First, we'd sell to the body shop. Then we'd sell to an electronics guy, and then eventually we got a friend of mine who I met on the street.
Yeah.
Him and I became associates. He had an uncle who was a fence,
right.
Meaning he could unload anything. I mean, you could bring him shoes, jeans, T-shirts, chairs, TV cameras, or sex toys.
Right.
And he's got an outfitter. Yeah. Right. And he's ready. He just picks up the phone. He used to have a list, and I used to go meet him. And he had a big house in Manhattan, a big apartment, and he had a list covered in cellophane, and the list was ancient. You could see that he covered it in cellophane to try to preserve it.
Yeah.
He was a fence for years and years, decades, probably before I was born. And you could bring him just about anything and say, you know, I got 200,000 Tiffany watches.
Yeah.
And he'd say, you got it. And he'd go down the list and he'd make a phone call and say, yeah, you want to meet for coffee. When we got enough of a reputation with him and he knew our word was good, I would just tell him what I was getting or what I just got before he even had it in his hands. He used to pull up a plank in his bedroom and give us the cash.
Right, just like that.
He just hands you the cash.
And how much cash were we talking about back those days?
He'd give us like nothing. He'd give me $50,000. You know, back then it was equivalent to 50,000 pounds. Right. Before the dollar sunk. Yeah. Like it was like he was giving a kid a lollipop. He was like what they call he was a knockaround guy. And who dealt with all, he used to admonish me and say, don't get in with the Gambinos. Stay independent. Be a cowboy, but your ego, you want to be a mob guy. Right. And you want to be a wise guy. You want to get in with the family. But he would counsel me and say, no, Lou, I'm doing it all my life. I deal with all 5 families. I made millions of dollars. I'm known and respected by all of them. Yeah. But I never committed to one. It's better that way. And you never have to listen to the shit he says when they go to war. He says, you just step aside and let them kill each other. Right. He says, that's the best way to do it. He would counsel me, and I loved the guy. Right. I used to call him Uncle Jimmy. Right. And he was like a father to me. And he used to teach me the way of the streets. And the irony was that my first rat, years later, when the FBI, which is like your M1, came after me. MI5, yeah. MI5. Yeah. The first snitch, the first rat who told them everything that I had done was him.
You're joking?
Yeah, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, and it was my first eye-opener. Yeah. And I didn't believe it. That's a common thing. You disbelieve it. You know, it's like people who hear their wife is cheating after 20 years.
Why would he do that? Did you get too big?
I got big, but they came after him, and he was facing too much time. Right. And he was older, and he wasn't willing to do it.
But do you understand that? Is there a...
I didn't understand at the time the power of self-preservation. Right. I felt like, and this, in all of my ignorance, I go back to that theme again and again because I was very ignorant at the time. Right. I learned a lot as the years went by. I was always more ambitious and aggressive than my brain always had to catch up. Yeah, yeah. But I believed that if I sat at a table with 10, 15 guys, and I was committing crimes with all of them, because I could never snitch, I was under the impression that they can't either. Yeah. You know, well, I could never do that. It's a human thing. You just don't do that to your friends. So they can't. When they started to go one by one snitch mob guys, right up to the top. But I lived through all that. I lived through the biggest rats, you know, the Sammy Gravano who ratted on John Gotti. Right. I had met him. You know, all these guys that went bad.
But you pay the price of your life if you get caught doing that, don't you?
You pay the price. Used to be you pay the price. Now they put you in a witness protection program. Right. Which my main snitch, this guy became what they called a dry snitch. Right. He gave information, but he refused to testify in open court and then disappeared. Yeah. Right. My main snitch went into the witness protection program, and when the FBI was trying to put me away, when they started going around to people's houses and saying, we're offering the witness protection program if you want to take it to testify against Lou, I knew I was done.
Right.
Because I knew that if they were going to go to that length to put me away, willing to pay somebody a paycheck once a month and relocate him and pay him for the rest of his life, I said, I'm done. I knew my jig was up. I'm a nobody. I'm the shit of the earth. I'm lower than the dirt under my shoe right now.
Back to your fence guy. So before he ratted on you, so he introduced you. He was telling you not to go with any of the families.
He would counsel me and say, Lou, the best way is to be alone.
Yeah.
Stay independent. Don't let anybody put a claim on you. What they do is a mob guy from a particular family will put a claim, a quote-unquote claim on you.
Right.
And that means you're with that family.
Right.
You make money, it goes back to that family.
How do you get to know about that claim? How does it happen?
Oh, they'll tell you. I'm putting a claim on you.
They'll just walk up to you, some guy?
No. You could tell the guy to go F himself.
Right.
No. You got to have a relationship with the guy. You're making money with the guy. It's usually like both ways. You trust the guy somewhat.
Right.
He trusts you, and it's a mutual thing.
How did yours happen?
Pretty much the same way, you know. I mean, I had friends in two families.
Right.
And actually, at one point, because I was earning with both groups of guys. They both wanted to, you know, and I went with the guy I trusted more to back me in case there was a beef, in case there was a problem.
Tell me how it works with regards to what you were doing. Was it a percentage you'd always have to give away?
What you do is you put something on record. Let's say for example, you're my capo, you're my guy I report to.
Yeah.
I just